Hi. We are now going to look together at the model that we have of success. And I'm saying this to you before I actually do the thing, because you see, our model of success is different than a lot of models. Usually, we think of success as being you have to do a lot in a short period of time, you've got to bust through things, and we know that what that leaves people with is just this state of depletion, anxiety sometimes. So I'm telling you this because you have at your command as an SLP the most valuable context that you can give people. It's actually a principle that creates a context, all right? And I think that what I'm going to do at some point is talk to you about a context and what context is all about. But that's not really what we're going to be talking about right now. We're going to look at the principle of success that we use here. Now, remember that the definition of a principle is a guideline that we use to wake up and become conscious of something. And so as you're talking with people about this definition of success, you're not just giving them any old definition. The way you present it is going to allow them to wake up to something that they hadn't been aware of before. I want you to really get that. It's so important in the way you deliver this model of success, this principle of success. And from time to time, you're going to hear me correcting my words. When you're an SLP, feel free to correct your words in front of people. It's okay. The only thing for you to do is create certainty. So when you correct your words, you don't have to say, oh my God, I used the wrong word. This is terrible. What? No. Just, no, it's not a context. It's really a principle. See how I did it? Boom. And everybody's with you, right? No monkey mind in the room whatsoever. Got it? So I'm going to start actually talking about success as though I were you. Here we go. I am so pleased to talk with you about a principle of success that is unique to this paradigm. And by that I mean, don't you think normally we have this model of success where you have to do a lot in a short period of time, you've got to make your best effort, you've got to raise the bar, you've got to just, and at the end people are exhausted. I mean, think of it. Have you ever tried to be successful at something and you've tried so hard that at the end of the day, you might have gotten what you really want, but you're too exhausted to even enjoy it or to do anything with it. So I'm going to give you this principle of success, and as you hear me talk about it, I want you to put yourself inside of what I'm saying. Because if you do, that's where your personal transformation lies. Not just hearing me give this like a lecture, but really putting yourself into the things that I'm talking about, okay? So we'll start. Now, success. And I'm going to print it out here. Success is doing what you said you would do consistently with clarity, focus, ease, and grace. So look at this definition. Success is doing what you said you would do, which we all know, right? Consistently. Okay. But here is where this definition diverges from a lot of definitions of success. Because you see, it's not enough to just do what you said you would do. You know, you don't want to be a do machine, you know. You want some quality in your life. You want some quality to your success. As a matter of fact, you might even say, if you're like many of us, you want a little bit of elegance to what you do. So this is what we will look at right now. What is clarity? Now, clarity is about being clear about what is important to you and what has real meaning. You might look at it as, what would you love to do? Not what you have to do, but what do you see is important for you to do? What would have some meaning for you? Now, think about it for yourself as you're hearing me say this. Can you give me some examples of what might be important for you? That's good. Great. Who else? Fabulous. Now, see, when I'm looking at important, once again, it's not what you have to do, but it's important for me to be an inspirational leader. It's important for me to be a loving family member. It's important for me to be physically fit and healthy. It's important for me to be financially successful. That's the importance I'm talking about here. Focus. All right. It's not just enough to see what's important to you. I mean, that's great. But what are you going to do with it? You're going to focus. Learn how to focus your attention and your awareness on what's important for you over and over again. Because one of the things that we know from brain science, and I'm sure you've heard about this already, but one of the things that we know is that whatever you focus on, your brain will tend to gather evidence for. So, for example, if I focus upon ways to be a loving family member, well, naturally, I'm going to start finding ways to do it. But you see, you have to focus on it first. You can't be distracted in life. As a matter of fact, one of the things from people who are very successful, they report that one of the things that had them be successful is that they were focused. They kept focus. And so many of us become distracted with all the extraneous emails, the contacts that we know are not that important to us. And we'll go into that a little bit later, but keep breathing as you hear me say this. I can tell some of you are kind of like, so keep breathing, keep breathing. So I'm going to cut away a little bit, SLP. I'm just making up what's happening out there. What you want to do is look at people out in the audience and see how they're reacting to what you're saying. Because if you see them get a little nervous, or if you see them, shifting around in their chair, I mean, you can tell. And even if you can't tell, imagine how you'd be feeling if you were hearing this for the first time, right? So you could even say, I would imagine that if you're like many of us, hearing this for the first time, you get a little nervous. And incidentally, SLP, don't worry about that noise outside. We're going to be hearing it from time to time today. They're gardening and fixing this building, so keep our attention here. Now, that's another thing I just did. I pointed to something obvious that was going on. I didn't try to ignore it. And you see, when you're creating a sense of certainty in the room and something happens, you can say, did you notice the noise just got a little louder? Well, they're fixing something in the building, so we'll just be here anyway. Immediately, people's attention comes right back to you. All right, so going back to the talk. Ease. Ease is one of the best parts of this model of success because ease is all about taking small, sweet steps in the direction of your goal. Small, sweet steps, little steps. Now, why do I say this? Well, because you see, if you try to overpromise, if you try to overpromise, you will end up under-delivering. If you underpromise, not by a lot, but if you underpromise, and by that you are giving yourself enough time, you're not, I'll give you an example. You know, I use a lot of book examples, but there's a man who first started working with me when I was coaching him, and he was an author, and he wanted to start out writing his book doing 5 pages a day. That's a lot. You know, 5 pages a day are 5 books a year. Let me just give you that perspective. Starting off with a half a page a day for about a week, then going to a whole page for another week, then going up to 2 pages a day, and then 3, and stopping at 3 pages a day. It's a way to sustain the effort. And you see, ease is also about sustainability, isn't it? Because if you waste all your resources by working too hard, you won't have enough energy to complete whatever it is you want to do. And finally, the last is grace. Now, the definition of grace is to become aware of blessings that surround you always. That's just basically the definition. And the gateway to grace is gratitude. I would bet that if you're like many people, you've read a lot lately about the importance of gratitude. But here, what we talk about is gratitude having to do with being on this journey, number one, and also about a way to use gratitude to disrupt anxiety. And that's what I'll be talking with you about later. So we can have general gratitude, things we love that we're grateful for. It keeps our heart open. It keeps the energy flowing. And then there is situational gratitude that disrupts anxiety. So we'll be looking at that a little later. Thanks. If you'll notice, I didn't put something at the bottom of each of these arrows, and I didn't realize it till after we'd already done the presentation. So let me put something at the bottom of each one, okay? So at the bottom of focus, I think the best thing you could put is, because people will get it, without distraction. Okay? So now, let me say something about this. Normally, I wouldn't put the word distraction or without distraction because it points to distraction. But in the case when you're presenting this for the first time, or even the second time, you're drawing a distinction here. Focus, distraction. So I think for this, that's okay, all right? And grace. What shall we put for grace? What do you guys think we should put for grace? Seriously. Gratitude. Gratitude. Perfect. So we have it from the guys in the back. So we have important, meaning, without distraction, little steps, you know, instead of trying to bust through where you get exhausted. And then gratitude. So that is it. Thanks.